Hello Kindred Spirits and welcome back. It's been a minute since I've been on YouTube and shown my face, but in today's video we're going to be talking about all things cozy that you can do for autumn. There'll be some books, a magazine, some activities, and even some cozy YouTube channels that I've recently discovered that I thought you might like to know about this autumn. If you're new to my channel, I post videos all about cozy, seasonal and intentional living, and I hope that you will join the family and become part of the community here on YouTube. Before we get into it, I need to show you my mug. Isn't that the cutest thing you have ever seen in your whole life? I saw it and I had to have it. It's an Acorn mug. I mean, really? It's so cute. I just had to have it. It was £4 at Home Bargains. And it keeps your tea so nice and warm. So, a life update. Right, so, life update. Where do I start? So, you know, early on in the year, I had a really rough patch where I just felt completely and totally burned out. Well, I won't say that I'm completely out of that yet. I have been taking 3 steps forward and a step and a half back and you know, kind of doing the burnout tango or the burnout cha-cha. I don't know what that is. If anybody's a Strictly fan, let me know. But it's kind of like 1, 2 backwards, forwards, 1, 2 backwards and forwards. I mean, I don't know what I've been doing, but I kind of feel like I kind of feel like my energy levels have been all over the place. I kind of feel like I've gone between exhaustion to feeling okay to feeling, you know, to feeling like I can't cope to feeling like I can cope. I'm not depressed. I just felt like just completely overwhelmed. Like just life was just dealing me some blows that I couldn't quite catch my breath, and I just couldn't quite, you know, I didn't quite feel myself. So I have been slowly kind of just breathing, realizing that, you know, life is not always going to be comfortable. It's not supposed to be all, you know, rainbows and rose gardens and all good stuff. And I've just been, you know, sort of going with it and trying to, well, I'm one of those people that if I'm not going, and running around or doing something, I'm probably dead. You know, I'm or extremely ill. And I just feel like life has been teaching me that I can't keep on doing that, because I will reach periods of just exhaustion, and life is teaching me to moderate my energy, to moderate my my resources, my, you know, it's basically just teaching me the lesson that if I don't look after myself, I am going to pay with pain from my osteoarthritis in my knees. I'm going to pay with exhaustion. I'm going to pay with feeling overwhelmed and stressed and anxious. And it's just, unfortunately, it's not an easy lesson for someone like me to learn. I am very much like I say, just a really busy person. I don't want to sit down and do nothing. I don't want to sit down and relax. I find that I need to be doing something all the time. And unfortunately, I don't have the energy for that all the time. So life has just been sort of teaching me that I either pay with pain, with anxiety, with, you know, feeling overwhelmed, or I learn my lesson and rest when I am feeling those sensations start to creep in, rather than only paying attention when those sensations are just completely over the top and I can't manage. So life has been really teaching me a few lessons recently. I have been, because I've not been feeling my best, I find that I've not been wanting to be visible on YouTube. And I know that sounds weird. I've not made many videos because I have been trying to, you know, manage my pain levels, manage my my life, my job. I have started a new job. I've been trying to manage all those things, and equally there's been things that have had to take a back seat. So the YouTube's taken a back seat. I haven't been posting as often as I would like, but also I've just felt like I didn't want to show my face on YouTube. I felt like I looked tired. I felt tired, and I didn't feel like I had the personality to bring to these videos when I felt like that, if that makes any sense. So you'll notice that a lot of my videos recently have been sort of, you know, just sort of not, you haven't seen my face in the videos and things like that. And I find I go through stages. So that may be something that happens on my channel. From time to time, you'll see the video, but you won't necessarily see me. And I may not talk in the video. It's not that I am not wanting to make videos. It's just that I'm feeling like I just need to be in the background for a bit. I need to conserve my energy. I need to conserve my enthusiasm and all that kind of stuff, because either I'm struggling, or it's because this is a really visual platform, and putting your face out there, kind of putting your voice out there, sometimes it can feel a lot. I don't know if any other YouTubers feel like that. If you have times when you experience things like that, just leave me a comment down below and let me know I'm not alone. But in the last 2.5 weeks, I've had COVID. I'm still not 100% over it. This new COVID variant, guys, is absolutely horrific. It is awful. I am not the kind of person that lays in bed, ever. I had my appendix out, and a day and a half later I was cleaning my house. Do you know what I mean? This was about 5 years ago, but still, I had my appendix out, and a day and a half later I was cleaning my house. This COVID, I came home on a Friday evening, I went straight to bed at 5:30 at night, and I woke up the next morning at 9 a.m. or thereabouts. And then I stayed in bed for a weekend because I was that ill. Guys, look after yourselves. Make sure you use your hand sanitizer when you're out and stuff like that. Just, you know, look after yourself. This is a baddie, okay? But, yeah, that's everything that's been going on recently. And I must admit, through all of this sort of upheaval in my life and all this sort of crazy things that have been going on, I've kind of been learning more and more about a soft life. I don't know if you've heard this term. The soft life is a term for, and if this is not the interpretation that you are familiar with, feel free to leave me a comment down below and tell me what your interpretation is. But it's a soft life is living a life of the path of least resistance. So in other words, it's protecting your peace. It's protecting your time. It's being mindful of where you spend your time, being mindful of what you allow into your life. It's learning to prioritize what's really important. It's learning to rest when you need to. It's learning to take care of yourself as well as taking care of others, and maybe helping others to take care of themselves so that you can take care of yourself. It's learning to put yourself as high up the list as you put other people in your family up your list, if you see what I mean. And I have been trying to implement some of these things in my life as I recover, as I try and sort of get myself out of this burnout and into a better frame of mind and into a better place in my life where I feel like I am able to continue at a pace that suits me now in this phase of my life. So that's something that I've been investigating through this whole period of burnout and through this whole period of just sort of this whole new phase that I'm in. And that's what one of the book recommendations is actually about later on. So let's talk about books. Right, enough life updates. I've got my list here of my things. So if I'm looking down, you know what I'm looking at. I'm looking at my list on my notebook. How gorgeous is this steampunk notebook? I found it at a Actually, I won it. I won it at a tombola stall at a school fair. And it is a paper white. No, it is a flame tree notebook. Absolutely love it. It's called The Cover Based on Steampunk Lady. And that's a Shutterstock picture. Anyway, I love this notebook, and let's talk about books. The book I've just finished is called The Lost Bookshop, and I'm going to leave the name on the screen, and I'll post a picture of it because I've lent it to a friend to read. And it's all about a chap called, well, it's about the lives of 3 people. One of them is in the past. She lives in the past. Her name is Opaline. And we see glimpses of her story and how her story ties into the two characters in the present day. So there is a chap in present day called Henry who is looking for this lost bookshop. He arrived, he's looking for any information he can find out about this infamous bookseller called Opaline Carlyle, or Opaline Gray. And he is researching, and he just cannot find out any information about her. He's down this path looking for information, and he arrives in Ireland. He arrives in Ireland, and he basically cannot find this mythical bookshop that was supposed to have survived. He can't find anything in the city records that this bookshop ever existed, but he knows it does because he has evidence. I believe it was in a letter. And he is looking for this bookshop, and along the way he meets someone called Martha. Now Martha has run away from her family situation, and she is helping to clean in an old house belonging to a grand dame who was an actress back in her day. She's an elderly lady, and she needs a housekeeper, and Martha goes to go and look after this lady and to help clean her house and look after her in her old age. And Henry and Martha meet. They start up an unlikely friendship. They're 2 completely different characters from 2 completely different backgrounds, and they start looking into Opaline and this lost bookshop. The story is magical. I absolutely adored it. I love the blast from the past and how Opaline comes across some really famous authors, and the story of her life, how she flees from England. Her journey takes her from England to Paris to Ireland. Oh my goodness, I just love this story, and I really, really recommend that you give it a go. It's got magic, it's got intrigue, it's got history, it's got just so much. I will put the proviso out there that there is some a trigger warning for you. There is some talk about domestic violence and coercion. So if that is something that is going to upset you, I would recommend that I wouldn't recommend that you necessarily read this book. There isn't a lot of that, don't get me wrong. There's not a lot of graphic scenes, but if it's a trigger warning for you, then I wouldn't recommend this book. But all in all, I recommend that you get a copy of this book. I really enjoyed it. It's such a good story, and I love the magic of this story. So the next book I want to recommend to you is this book from Laurie Gilmore called The Pumpkin Spice Cafe. Now, this book has been all over Instagram. It's been all over, I think, TikTok as well. This has got all of your Gilmore Girls small town, vibes. I loved this book. I loved the characters. Logan is very much a kind of a Luke from the Gilmore Girls kind of character, really grumpy. He's a farmer. And the book is about a young girl who inherits this pumpkin spice cafe in a small town called Dream Harbor. She inherits this pumpkin spice cafe, and she's been, living. She used to work at a desk job, and she just hates her life, and she jumps at the opportunity to take over this bookshop. She jumps at the opportunity to take over this cafe. It's all about how she integrates into this town. And do you know something? I loved it. There's lovely romance. It's a bit spicy, if you know what I mean. It's a bit of a spicy read, but it's lovely. I enjoyed it. there's a bit of a mystery going on where there's weird things happening in the store and she doesn't know what's going on, where these strange noises are coming from, where the problems with some of the appliances is coming from, and Logan helps her to solve this mystery. Look, I'm not gonna lie, this is not the next Pride and Prejudice. However, it's a feel-good read. It's all got that small town vibes, the autumn pumpkin spice little cafe, living the dream. You know, everyone wants to leave their desk job and own a gorgeous cafe in a gorgeous town and have, you know, deliveries of fresh produce from the gorgeous farmer. That's what this book is. I loved it. I enjoyed it. A lot of people have a problem with pacing, or, you know, sometimes you just got to read a book and enjoy it for what it is and not wish that it was something else. And that's this book. Pretty good read, enjoyed it, give it a go. The next book that I've started reading is this. Now, I found this in a charity shop. It didn't have its dust jacket. So I'll put a picture up here of what the book looks like when it has its dust jacket on. But it's called Being Elizabeth Bennett. Now, do you remember, you know, people of sort of my age group will remember those choose your own adventure stories. You know the ones I mean, the one where it was, if you want this to happen in the story, turn to page 137. And if you choose this to happen in the story, turn to page 25. It's that kind of story, but based on Pride and Prejudice. People, I love everything to do with Jane Austen. I love everything to do with Pride and Prejudice. It's my favorite book of all time. And this book is so much fun. It's so funny. You get, because it's based on Jane Austen's works, it kind of intertwines, like if you want this to happen, you know, go to this page, and then you'll suddenly meet one of the characters from one of the other Jane Austen novels, which is just so fun. This is such a good adventure. I can't wait to read it several times so that I can go on different adventures with this story. But there's also another little quirk to this book which I really love. So listen to this. This book is no ordinary book and should not be read through from beginning to end. It contains many different adventures, and the path you take will be determined by the choices you make along the way. The success or failure of your mission hinges on decisions you make, so think carefully before choosing. In addition to this, your mission will also be influenced by how well you do in the following 5 categories: your accomplishments, intelligence, confidence, connections, and fortunes, which could either mean luck or money. On separate pieces of paper, draw up lists for the 5 different categories. You begin with high scores for your intelligence and confidence at 200 points each, but with a regrettably low fortune score, only 50 points, and absolutely no accomplishments or connections. In order to increase your chances of marrying well, you must try to improve your scores and gain more connections and accomplishments. At intervals during the adventure, you'll be given bonus opportunities to increase your scores by taking tests or answering questions. But take care. Whilst you can gain points, you can also lose them, which could harm your chances of marrying happily and affect the outcome of your adventure. I'm adoring this book. It's so much fun, and it makes you think. It kind of gives you that glimpse into what would happen if Pride and Prejudice got mashed up with something else, and one of those books try to influence, like Mansfield Park, try to have some influence on, or, you know, I just love it. I really am enjoying this book. If you get an opportunity, give it a go. And the next book I've been reading is on my Kindle. Now, isn't this gorgeous? This is the Kindle case that my auntie made me. How beautiful is it? It's quilted. She's been having a go at quilting recently, and it looks gorgeous. So I was really, really pleased to receive such a lovely cover. So the book I've been reading on my Kindle is by an author called Fiona Ferris. Now, she writes books about changing a mindset and about living a slower, more intentional life. Like, she writes books like How to Be Chic, How to Be Financially Chic, How to Slow Down. She comes across as the kind of person that you would just love to meet, because I kind of feel like I really want to. She feels like the kind of woman that I want to be. if that makes any sense. Like her wisdom and the way she sees things and the way she talks about how you can live the kind of life that you want to live without stressing yourself out, without spending millions of pounds, it's just, I love her tips. I love her blog. I love her philosophies. Really, this book I've been reading called 100 Ways to Live a Soft Life is just been really eye-opening for me. I've really found some of the ideas and the tips that she writes about to be quite thought-provoking. So I'm going through this book slowly. I'm implementing some of the tips. I'm thinking about how some of the other philosophies she talks about can be applied in my own life. And it's one of those books where you just kind of go, wow, I never thought about that before. How can I do that? How can I implement that? You know? So I'm really, really enjoying it. I would recommend her books, and I will be reading more of her books. She's got loads out, and I can't wait to dip my toe into more of the world of Fiona Ferris. The next thing I want to talk about reading is not actually a book, it's a magazine. Now, last year for Christmas, hubby got me a subscription to the Bella Grace magazine. This is the most magnificent magazine if you are a cozy enthusiast, because it is the most cozy magazine you'll ever come across. And basically, the magazine is filled with the most stunning photography, like, wow, stunning photography, right? And it's written in small articles about all sorts of different things. So this, the latest edition, has 15 graceful ways to fall into autumn, embracing darker days, another article on things that take my breath away, for the love of doing nothing, and life's imperfect little squares. And they're articles or short stories, but I mean, just look at some of the images. How gorgeous. What else? You know, kind of all those Pinterest worthy images and beautiful little articles, and just A Kitchen in the Woods, a short story. Just, I mean, beautiful, beautiful. And there's places where you can do some journaling. There is quotes. There is, let's show you, places where you can do some journaling, some journal prompts. There's lists on things you can do, like there's poetry. I just love this magazine. There's people, so what they'll do is they will post on their the creators of the magazine will post a prompt on their Instagram and say to people, you know, like 50 plus fictional characters we want to spend the day with, and they'll ask you who you want to spend the day with, and then they will put people's responses from Instagram on here. So I just love this magazine, absolutely love it. I've been getting it for a year. This is the last one that I received, and I think I'm going to subscribe again because I've really enjoyed going through these, through each of the seasons. Just everything about it is just so beautiful and so well done, and it's chunky, and it's, you know, the magazine, can you see how thick that cardboard is compared to the normal flimsy magazine? It's well made. This is like a coffee table book. And these are magazines that you're going to be keeping for years because they're just so stunning. And if you're someone who does scrapbooking or something along those lines, I mean, this is the kind of thing that you want to be cutting up. Well, I wouldn't cut it up, to be fair, but some people would do like mixed media art and journaling and things like that. This is what you want. Stunning, well worth the money. I will put the details of where I got the subscription from, because this is an American publication, but I'll leave down below where you can get your hands on it. Okay, more tea. Okay, let me just show you very quickly here just the 3 books that I've got on my to be read pile. A good friend of mine, Shahina, she recommended this book for me. A good friend of mine, Shahina, recommended this book to me, and I can't wait to get started. As soon as I finish the books I'm reading at the moment, I'm going to get onto this one. It's called The Book Thief, and this book is written from the perspective of death. Interesting. interesting. This is her absolute favorite book, and she recommended it to me, so I'm going to be reading that. I've got this one by Freya Berry called The Birdcage Library, which is kind of like a gothic novel. It glistens with the hint of danger within. Remember, the man I love is... Reader, this is what it says on the back. Reader, the man I love is trying to kill me. In 1932, Emily Blackwood, a young adventuress and plant hunter, travels north for a curious new commission. A gentleman has written to request she catalogue his vast collection of taxidermied creatures before sale. On arrival, Emily finds a ruined castle, its owner haunted by memories of a woman who disappeared decades before. And when she discovers the ripped pages of a diary crammed into the walls, she realizes dark secrets lie here waiting to entrap her. It's kind of got the it's kind of got the feel of oh gosh, what's that book called now? It's kind of got Jane Eyre vibes. It's kind of got like it's kind of got gothic novel vibes. What's that one by Jane Austen? Not Mansfield Park. Oh gosh, I can't remember the name of it right now for the life of me. But it's kind of got that kind of gothic vibe to it. I can't wait to sink my teeth into this one. And then the last book I want to read, and I want to read it again because I've read it before, but I found a beautiful hardcover copy, and that's called The Midnight Library. This book is written by Matt Haig, who I absolutely adore. The man is a genius. And this book is a book about Nora Seed, who basically decides, I mean, this book has got trigger warnings, okay, of suicide. So if that's something that's going to upset you, I wouldn't read this book. But it is incredibly clever. It's about someone who decides that she's going to commit suicide. And she basically... she's basically on the point of death. And at that point, she arrives in this mythical, magical library. And in this library, she is able to explore what her life could have been if she had chosen differently in certain situations in her life. So if she had stayed with an ex-partner, how would her life have turned out? If she had carried on swimming competitively, how would her life have turned out? It is an incredible story. And if something like suicide is, because I mean, it only starts off in the beginning about suicide, if you see what I mean. And then the story goes on where she can literally in this library go to any choice that she could have made and go to any number of alternate universe lives almost. She can carry on doing that. If she finds a life that she prefers to have lived, she can go and live that life. And she won't die. She'll just go and be in that life. Or she can jump to another life and to another opportunity, another possibility that could have been out of the things that happened in her life. Guys, wow. Just wow. Absolute masterpiece, this book. And I'm going to read it again. I can't wait. Right. Now, let us talk about Cosy Activities. So, autumn, you know, is my favorite season of the year. My favorite holiday is Christmas. My favorite season is autumn. Now, if you don't usually... Ugh, this hair. If you don't usually, I would recommend that you make yourself a cozy bucket list. You guys know how much I love a bucket list and I cross things off, but it helps me to be intentional about the things that I want to enjoy during the season, because otherwise life just runs away with me, and before I know it, the season has passed and I haven't enjoyed the things that I wanted to. So I would highly recommend that you make yourself a bucket list, piece of paper, some felt tips or a pen, and just write down some cozy things that you would like to do. The next cozy autumn thing that you can do is set up a coffee station in your kitchen with some nice autumn coffees. There's some lovely ones out recently. Some coffee pods or some instant coffees that have flavorings, some coffee syrups, and really just enjoy making yourself your favorite treat at home for less money, of course, but also just sort of giving yourself a bit of a different experience. And if you see my last video, you'll know that I made some pumpkin spice syrup that you can use in your coffee. So I would recommend that you go back, have a look at that video, and make yourself a nice cozy treat at home. The next thing you can do this autumn is to make yourself a cozy little book nook. Now, I'm quite fortunate. We had a loft conversion done, and I have a space here where I film my videos, but also it's my cozy book nook. In my previous video, you'll see, I'll leave a link to it, of course, you'll see how I set up my little book nook, but you can have just a small little space next to your sofa where you sit at night watching your telly or things like that. You can have a small little space with a little trolley or something like that with your books and maybe your crochet or something like that. Set up a nice cozy little space for yourself so that you can indulge in all the things that you like to do in autumn, whether it's reading, whether it's doing a small craft. Set yourself up a nice little cozy spot. The next thing I enjoy doing in autumn is adult colouring. I enjoy this all through the year, but really in autumn it comes into its own. It's just gorgeous. I put on some music or I put on an audio book, get my adult colouring in books out, and I colour. I either use my colouring in books and felt tips, or I have on my tablet an app where you can do some colouring in as well, and I'll leave a link down to that. But if you want screen-free time, an adult colouring in book, you can pick them up really inexpensively on either Amazon or in places like The Works or The Range, and just get colouring. It's a really lovely, restful, peaceful pastime. The next thing I would recommend that you try and get to do in the autumn period, because it's perfect for the season, is crochet. Crochet is not like knitting because I can't knit. Well, I can knit, but there's more holes than there's supposed to be. So my friend recommended that I try crochet because there's supposed to be holes in crochet, and that seems to work perfectly well for me. I'm busy working on this gorgeous mushroom toadstool cushion for my daughter's bedroom makeover, and it's going to have cute little toadstools all over it and a lovely fabric back. There are loads and loads of easy crochet things that you can make, and I will leave a link down to the tutorial for how to make this crochet cushion in the link down in the description box down below. Autumn is the perfect time for getting outdoors. Now, whether you go to a National Trust property, because we're National Trust members and we love the National Trust properties, they've got some beautiful, beautiful gardens that are just idyllic for looking at the autumn leaves and the beautiful scenery. And if you can, take a picnic, take a book, sit out in the sun and enjoy reading. I love to go to graveyards. If you don't want to get a subscription to a National Trust property, or if you don't want to just visit a National Trust property, your local graveyard is one of the most peaceful places to sit and read. It is a very, very relaxing place to be, and I love the planting schemes in graveyards are often really beautiful. So I love to sit there and read. Otherwise, you can go to a local park, a local field, the woods. Get outdoors this autumn. If you like everything the season has to offer, check out your local pumpkin patch and go and visit a pumpkin patch and have the experience there. Last year we went to Tully's pumpkin I can't remember what it's called, but it's like a pumpkin patch, and there's photo opportunities and you can get lunch, and oh my goodness, we had such fun. We had such a lot of fun being out in the beautiful weather. We chose some pumpkins, we enjoyed everything that the experience had to offer, and it was a lovely, lovely day out and a lovely experience. I can't wait to go back this year. The next thing that you can do this autumn is to get into the kitchen. There is so much that you can bake or cook that goes with the season. Try, get out of your comfort zone. Don't make the same old things you make every time. If you're going to make cottage pie, use sweet potato in your cottage pie as opposed to just, potatoes. Make yourself some beautiful oats for breakfast with apple and cinnamon and nuts and some maple syrup or some honey. Get into the kitchen and make yourself some gorgeous seasonal meals and some gorgeous seasonal baking. I will leave some links down below to previous videos where I do some seasonal baking or some gorgeous autumnal type meals that you can also try for yourselves. Give yourself the experience of trying some new things and enjoying some new things and eating seasonally if you can. Quick tea break because my tea's getting cold. Okay, so let's talk about YouTubers. I've recently discovered 3 new YouTubers, which, well, they're not new YouTubers, but they're new to me, if you know what I mean. So the first one is Shelby's Cottage. This American lady, oh my gosh, she's like my soul sister. She's my soul sister across the pond. I absolutely adore her channel. She is an autumn girly just like me, and the video I watched last week, I was just blown away. They have turned a shed in their garden into a hobbit hole house. Like, I was just like, oh my God, hubby. I was telling my husband that we need to turn our shed into a hobbit hole, and the look on his face was just hysterical. He was like, you serious? And I was like, look, I want one of these. And he was just like, no, that's not. Oh my God. You will love Shelby's Cottage. She is just a lovely, chatty person, and she has so many beautiful ideas and so many beautiful interests in books and all the things that we like on this channel. She is a true kindred spirit. So check out her channel. The next channel I want to tell you about that I've recently discovered is called It's a Charming Life. This is a couple. She's an American lady, and I believe he comes from one of the Scandi countries. I can't remember which one, but he's an artist, and they live in the most beautiful little cottage. I think it's called Cobweb Cottage, and their channel is just the coziest channel. It's got the vintage vibes. It's got the retro vibes. She looks like a vintage girly, like a vintage Rita Hayworth, or you will just love this channel. It's gorgeous. It's got all the cozy vibes. It's got all the cozy things, all the seasonal vibes, the books, the decor, all the things. It's gorgeous. You have to watch it. And lastly, the next channel that I found recently, which I'm really been enjoying, is called Halfway to Cozy. It is the coziest, really the most peaceful and just inspiring channel that I've come across recently, and I've really been enjoying it. So if you like my kind of content, if you like that kind of content, you will love her channel. So go and check it out as well. Well, friends, thank you so much for visiting with me today. Thank you so much for bearing with me. I appreciate each and every one of you. If you've liked this video, give it a thumbs up, hit the notification bell, and leave me a comment. Let me know what your seasonal reads are this year. Let me know what books you've been reading recently and what things you enjoy doing in the autumn. Until next time, friends, keep calm and be cozy.